Hi, my name is August Klintberg, and I'm here to introduce you to my solo exhibition at Pierre-François Ouellette à Contemporain in Montreal. The show is called Lookbook, and it's a series of 64 sheets of photocopy collaged images that I've put together to create a kind of encyclopedia of different images that I saw as a young person growing up in small town Alberta between the ages of roughly 12 and 14, so in the early 1990s. What I did was I gathered together different magazines that my family had in the house when I was growing up, also sources that I would have seen at the local library, and I photocopied pages from those different sources and then used those photocopied fragments to create these larger collages that look a bit like an encyclopedia or a phone book or some kind of guide. Also, I think a little bit like stained glass, which was an important way of making images that my mom introduced me to. She made stained glass when I was growing up and also taught me to do stained glass. So I imagine here I'm piecing together these different images to create a sort of lexicon or guidebook about what I thought my future life would be, both as, like possibly a parent, maybe as a professional, maybe as an artist. And the series is about me trying to figure out my place in the world and the kinds of things that I aspired to own or be once I became an adult. So I was thinking about it like a guide to the good life for myself later in life. And when I was about 12 to 14, I made collages using a photocopier and would make these little posters and put them up in my school as this sort of unsanctioned way of making art in my own public school. And this work is about returning to that impulse, that kind of hunger and appetite for images, a curiosity about the types of images that I was finding. Because at that time, at that age, I wasn't totally convinced about the difference or the hierarchy between visual art and other forms of images. So the series is about returning to that question about the difference between artwork as a category and every other form of image and object that exists in the world. So I wanted to get back in touch with that creative impulse as a young person and really study it. All of these panels fit together to create this sort of panorama effect, and throughout them I've added these small aluminum sequins. They're hand cut out of this aluminum material and then pinned and stapled into the image. And they act as a kind of embellishment, like a way of dazzling or, I don't know, sort of sprucing up the image, I guess, elevating it. And also as a kind of distraction from some of the other images that are inside of the composition. So I brought in images from my mother's home decorating magazines, also from woodblock print guides that she had around for making stained glass patterns, the Sears catalog, also this men's underwear catalog that was called International Male that I got in contact with as a young person. So the sequins kind of like add this ornament to the collages, but also serve as a kind of distraction tactic from some of the elements in the collages that would have made me more nervous as a young person, especially images of other men. So yeah, it's about studying myself as a nascently queer person growing up in a really conservative part of Canada and wondering what my future was, like sort of imagining, okay, there is a future for me as a queer person. And lately I've really had the impulse to get back in touch with that sort of feeling, like about imagining queer futures, not just for me, but for other people too.